Welcome back to the Broad Street Sports Podcast featuring Zachary Chabian. Today I'll be giving you my NFL Week 10 reactions going from Thursday Night Football to Sunday Night Football and giving my thoughts on this Monday Night Football game between the Rams and the Dolphins later tonight. So, moving into Thursday Night Football, we had ourselves a very intriguing game. The Ravens won by 1 point on a failed two-point conversion by the Bengals. This was a very up-and-down game. The Bengals were up 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, and then a key Chase Brown fumbled what seemed was the thing that changed this game. Because the Ravens were able to get back in it, Tywan Wallace had a big 84-yard touchdown for the Ravens, and just overall, Jamar Chase had the game of his life. Anyone who had him in fantasy had a big week. He had a huge game. He had 55.4 fantasy points. I think he had over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, 11 catches. But overall in this game, the Bengals weren't able to close it out once again against the Ravens, and that's why the Ravens won this game. And for Cincinnati, I don't know where they move from here. They're 4-6. A lot of tough losses here, and it's going to be tough to recover in a very rough, very bad AFC with both their division, both the teams in their division, the Steelers and Ravens, both miles ahead of them in record-wise. So it's going to be tough for Cincinnati to even get into the playoff chase. So it should be interesting to see from that. And then for the Ravens, they had a nice second half. They played very well in the second half and were able to carry themselves to a great win by 1 point. So overall, just a great game. It was just a great way to start off the week, in my opinion. So moving on to the Sunday slate of games, we had ourselves a Germany game this week, and the Panthers won in the overtime 20-17. It was a crucial Tyrone Tracy Jr. fumble to start overtime. The first play, he fumbled, which resulted in the Panthers gaining some yards, and an Eddie Pinheiro game-winning field goal. But overall, for the Panthers, Chuba Hubbard was their entire offense. He had over 20 attempts, over 150 rushing yards, and a touchdown on the day. And for the Giants, it's just Daniel Jones at this point. He just doesn't know he just looks delusional out there. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing, and that's really concerning for a guy you paid over $40 million a year. That's really tough to see, and I feel bad for a guy like Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, because they got so much potential, but it feels like he's just holding them back from what they really can be, because Daniel Jones, he has some targets to get the ball to. I know his offensive line isn't great with Andrew Thomas getting knocked out, but at the same time, though, if you're getting paid that amount of money, you should be able to create plays on your own, and he's just not, and that's what's holding the Giants back right now, and what most likely will consider them to pick a quarterback in the first round this year. And for the Panthers, back-to-back wins is great for them. They just keep growing as a team as a whole, and Bryce Young played game-managing football yesterday, just was able to get them the win overall. He was able to get it to guys like Xavier Legette. Sanders had a touchdown this week again for the Panthers, and just overall, the Panthers just keep growing as a team, and if they can end this season on a high note, that'd be great for them. So, moving on to the 1 o'clock slate games, the Patriots just pretty much demolished the Bears. The score, I know the score is low, but at the same time, though, the Bears will just neutralize the entire game. Caleb Williams, once again, I said this at the very beginning of the season, even before the draft, and I'm staying firmly on this. I do not think Caleb Williams is an a great NFL quarterback. I know it might be too early in his career, but I think you can really consider putting the bust label on him. He has not looked great. I know his offensive line is not great, but at the same time, though, how much more excuses are you going to make for him? He has the targets to get the ball to. He's just not getting the ball, and this is back-to-back weeks they haven't scored a touchdown. DJ Moore just looks like he's been neutralized. Keenan Allen, you trade for him, he's not getting the ball. Rome Odunze isn't getting the ball, and Cole Kmet is barely getting the ball. And you signed DeAndre Swift, he's barely rushing the ball. So for the Bears, I don't know where they move from here. They definitely need to consider firing Matt Eberflus. He's just not the coach for that team anymore. And just we'll see how the season ends for them in a tough NFC North. And for the Patriots, once again, they just keep building. Drake May played a great game. Their defense got 9 sacks on the Bears, so that's always a great sign for a defense. And overall, the Patriots just played their style of football and were able to get out of there with a nice 19-3 win. So, moving on to the next game, the 49ers and Buccaneers. This game came down to the wire, and it was won by a Jake Moody game-winning as time expired field goal. He had a rough day kicking. I think he missed 2 or 3 kicks on the day. But overall, it just came down to the end, and the Niners, with McCaffrey back, even though Purdy looked a little dysfunctional, but they still got the job done and kept their playoff chances very much alive. And for the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield's just trying his best at this point. He had an incredible play on 4th and 7 to get it to Rashard White. when Nick Bosa all over him, and he made a great play. But he's just fighting for his life out there. I mean, the Bucs are now 4-6. I don't know where they're going to move from here because if you think about it, he doesn't have the receivers. Mike Evans ain't going to be back, I think, until next week or the following week. I think they're bye week this week, if I'm not mistaken. But just overall, it's going to be interesting to see how they move from here. But 49ers, when they very much need it, and the Tampa Bay just keep spiraling down and down. So moving on to the next game, the Chiefs just survived to stay undefeated by the score of 16-14 over the Broncos. The Broncos started this game very strong. They were up 14-3 early, but then Kansas City was just able to chew the clock, play good defense, and get up in the score, and they won on a blocked field goal, which kept them undefeated. And it's just their defense keeping them this game. Mahomes isn't playing the greatest right now, but it really hasn't mattered. They're 9-0 for a reason. They're just one collective great team, and they're going to continue to do that until someone can stop them, which is going to be very interesting to see if Buffalo can do that next week, because that's going to be a great matchup in my opinion. Buffalo at 8-2 and Kansas City at 9-0. That's going to be a great matchup in my opinion. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. And for Denver, Bo Nix played a good game, just wasn't enough, and he's been great for them this year so far. Bo Nix has been playing great football, but at the same time, though, it's just a rebuilding year for the Broncos. To be 5-5 at this point is not the worst thing in the world. This just means that you keep growing as a team and keep growing as a culture and a whole, and just get this team more collective and ready for the future that is ahead of them. Just that's what you want to build out of a season, a team that doesn't have great expectations or has like things that they are aspiring for. Like the Broncos, they still have much to grow on, but it seems like they do have their franchise guy in Bo Nix so far. But just building that culture, building the team as a whole, and the Broncos could be very much back in the playoff contention even this year or next year. So moving on to the next game, the Bills beat the Colts by the score of 30-20. I know this game was only a 10-point game, but the Bills mostly dominated throughout this game. They forced 3 interceptions on Joe Flacco. One was an interception return for a touchdown. And for Josh Allen, he just played game-managing football. I mean, he played a great game overall, had a great play to Matt Collins as the first half was expiring to get them in field goal range. And James Cook had a touchdown on the day. Josh Allen looked pretty good, like I said. And for the Colts, they just keep spiraling and spiraling. They're down to 4-6 now. I don't know where they move from here. They just don't even have a quarterback answer at this point. And when you're a team 2 games under 500 and don't know what you want to do with your quarterback, that's never a great sign. So just the Bills just keep on moving on, and the Colts, like I said, just keep spiraling down. Moving on to the next game, we had the Steelers defeating the Commanders. Very close at the end there. Terry McLaurin knee was called down just short of the first, and the Steelers got the ball back and were able to get the rookie for the Commanders out of Illinois, Jerjuan Newton, to jump off sides on 4th and 1, which pretty much sealed the game. Russell Wilson, except for that one interception, played great football, was able to get the ball to George Pickens overall, and the Steelers just played their brand of offense. And for the Commanders, they got in the end zone, they got their points, but just wasn't enough to contend with the Steelers, and the Steelers got out of there with a great win. Mike Williams made his impact in his first game, having a huge touchdown on 3rd and 9 to give them the lead. And overall, the Steelers were just able to get enough pressure on Jaden Daniels to help them win this game. So moving on to the next game, this game was a snooze fest in my opinion. There was only 1 touchdown scored, but the Vikings got out of there with a 12-7 win. Mac Jones started this game for the Jaguars and just didn't look great. He had a really bad game-ending interception to Cameron Bynum. But really, other than that, not much to talk about this game. The Vikings moved to 7-2, and the Jaguars just looking like they're one more loss away from firing their coach. So moving on to the next game, we got the Saints and the Falcons, and the Saints win in upset fashion. The Falcons came into New Orleans and just seems like a trap game for them. MVS had a huge day for them. I think he had 3 catches for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He looked great for them. Him and Derek Carr were forming a great connection. And the Falcons, they just had a lot. They were just unreliable on offense. Only putting up 17 points the way they've been playing the past couple weeks is not the greatest thing in the world. And I mean, this division, I mean, they have all the control in this division because Tampa Bay is spiraling. The Saints and the Panthers are both 3-7, so I don't expect much out of them the rest of the season. But overall, the Falcons, I don't know where they move from here. I think they should be fine, but I mean, this win is a little bit of a cause for concern because New Orleans is very banged up, and they were able to win this game. I know very close, but still at the same time win this game. But just a good overall win for the Saints, and Falcons just need to clean some things up if they want to get back into shape. So Moving on to the 4 o'clock slate games, the Chargers defeated the Titans as the Chargers moved to 6-3, and I'm very impressed in the way Justin Herbert's playing right now. He has like 1 interception in his past 5 games. He's playing the football he's meant to play, and this is why Herbert's a great quarterback in this league. He just needed a good head coach to help him get to that level, and it's been Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh has been that guy for him, and he's just giving that confidence in Herbert every week to go out there and do what he knows he can do. And I know they got rid of Mike Williams. I know they got rid of Keenan Allen, but he's doing what he can with the receivers he has. He has Ladd McConkey. He has Quentin Johnson. He has the running backs in J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. He's just doing what he needs to do, and their defense is playing up to par. Because I know they only scored 7. I know the Titans still scored 17 points, but they got stops when they needed to. I think they forced a couple turnovers. But for the Chargers, just playing great football is what they need to do, and if they can sneak into the playoffs, I think they're a very dangerous team because with a new coach, knowing what this team's potential is one of the most dangerous things you can see. And for the Titans, Will Levis played okay in this game. He was able to get the ball to Calvin Ridley, I think, for 6 or 7 catches for 84 yards and 2 touchdowns. But overall, for the Titans, this is just a rebuilding year for them. They got to really evaluate what they want to do at the quarterback position because they paid Calvin Ridley a whole lot of heck of money, and they paid Tony Pollard. It's just going to be interesting to see what they do moving into this offseason because I don't expect much more out of them in the regular season. So, moving on to the next game, just straight domination from the Cardinals over the Jets by the final score of 31-6. The Cardinals are just on fire right now. They move up to 6-4 and take a firm lead in the NFC West. Kyler Murray's just playing the football he needs to play. Marvin Harrison got in the end zone. Trey McBride's looked great these past couple weeks. And James Conner's just a very underrated running back, in my opinion. He does what he needs to do every single week, and that's why he's still one of the best running backs in this game. I think he's easily still top 15 in my opinion. So, and then for the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, this is what I've mostly expected out of him. No quarterback at his age coming off a torn Achilles. You can't expect much out of a guy like that. And then trading for Devontae Adams, I knew it wasn't going to make much of an impact because this Jets team is just not good. I think firing Robert Saleh was the problem because he wasn't the problem. I don't know why they felt the need to fire him when he wasn't the person causing these issues, but that's besides the point. But overall, the Cardinals got a great win, and the Jets, I don't know. We'll have to see what they do from here. Moving on to the next game where we also had another blowout where my Philadelphia Eagles gave that belt to ass to the Dallas Cowboys by the score of 34-6. It was a little shaky in the first half. I was feeling a little nervous in the first half, but once the second half started, we just asserted our dominance. Having 5 turnovers on the day was great. Zach Bond played well. C.J. Johnson got an interception, and Quinyon Mitchell. This is his world, and we're just living in it at this point. He's just a shutdown corner every week. You can put your best receiver on him, and it won't even matter. He just has so much confidence, and that's what I love about the guy. He's not afraid to go against anybody. He'll face the best receiver in the game and lock him down with no problem. And Cooper DeJean's just that physically gifted guy. He can do whatever you want for him. He can do whatever you need him to do. Go out and do a kick return, he'll do it since Bryn Covey's out. He'll go and cover CeeDee Lamb, he can do that efficiently. This defense is playing up to par, and I give a lot of props to Vic Fangio because he's building with these guys just as much as they're building themselves as the week goes on. Because if you think about it, this team has been growing, especially ever since the bye week, and this is the reason they have 5 straight wins. They're growing as a team as a whole. Their culture, they're trying to rebuild it from last year because there's a lot of core guys, key guys who were in the locker room last year and some new guys added into it. But at the same time, though, just building this culture back up again, getting these players together as one, and especially the coaches come out in as one, that's a great sign. And just for the Eagles, they did exactly what they needed to do in this game. They asserted their dominance against Dallas in this game, and they were able to get their starters out early in this game because they got a big game against Washington this week, which I'll be previewing on Wednesday. It's because I'm going to the game on Thursday, which I'm very excited about. So, but really, other than that, the Eagles, just a great win. Very happy as a fan for sure. That's great. And for the Cowboys, let me just talk about them real quick. I don't know if anybody heard what Micah Parsons said, but he talked about Mike McCarthy and said he wouldn't even care if he'd gone at this point. And I just watched his podcast before I came on here to see what his comments were, what he actually meant by that. But even if saying that, it just shows that locker room is so divided, and just there's no real leader in there, and I think Dak getting hurt just completely ruined them as a whole. Because I know Dak hasn't been playing well, but he's really if you think about it, he tries to be that leader wherever he's at, and I feel like losing a guy like that, it hits the locker room especially, and it's just CeeDee Lamb just looks upset. Micah Parsons was back yesterday and had a good game, but overall, I don't know where the Cowboys move from here. I expect Mike McCarthy to be fired at the end of the season, and I think it's just rebuild mode for the Cowboys because you can't really build off of this season because you like Jerry Jones said, he wanted to go all in. He paid Dak, he paid CD, but now he's stuck with those contracts, and going to be interesting to see what they do with Micah Parsons this offseason. So, moving on to the final game, Sunday Night Football. The Texans dominated this game throughout the first half, and Jared Goff looked terrible. He had 5 interceptions on the day, I think 3 in the first half, 2 in the second half. But overall, the Lions, this is exactly why they're 8-1 right now. They came back and won the game because they're that good of a team. They're a team that never dies. They have a no-quit attitude. That's what Dan Campbell teaches them every week in and week out, and that's exactly why they're 8-1. They're playing their style of football. Ben Johnson's getting the most out of these players as he can every single week, and I just think they're a dangerous team. Like, you don't know what you're going to get out of them. Like, this week, they look like they were down and out on the mat. Most people probably turned the game off at halftime, but no, they got up off the mat, and they showed why they are one of the best teams in the NFL. And for Houston, just a tough loss. It's going to be interesting to see how they build off from this. But overall, for the Texans, just keep building. You've still got this division very much intact. Just keep winning some games, and you should be fine. For the Lions, I don't know what to think because at this point, you don't know what team you're going to see out of them every week. So, and then previewing Monday Night Football, Dolphins and Rams. I don't expect much out of this game. I expect the Rams to win pretty firmly, though, in my opinion. I think the Rams, they've looked better down the stretch. They got themselves helped back to 500. They're at home. They got everyone healthy, and the Dolphins are spiraling at this point. I think one more loss, and their season's officially over. So I think the Rams win tonight firmly by at least 10, 15 points, and I think expect a good game out of Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua for sure. And then for the Dolphins, if they can get the ball to Tyreek efficiently, they might have a chance, but I expect Tua to maybe throw 1 or 2 interceptions. So other than that, that's going to wrap up today's Week 10 recap of what happened between Thursday Night Football and Sunday Night Football. Like I said, expect an episode this Wednesday because I won't be recording because I'm going to the game on Thursday. But really, other than that, I hope everyone enjoyed their weekend of football and stuff like that. But like I said, other than that, this is going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and enjoy Monday Night Football.